How many of you own a car? How many of you can afford to own your car? How many of you would like to live in an area where you have the option of not owning a car? Well, your responses are very similar to national trends. According to surveys conducted by the Urban Land Institute in 2015, millennials are less likely to own a car compared to other generations. And over 60% of millennials want to live in areas that are walkable and where having a car is optional. However, there's a myth that millennials are living in amenity-laden apartments in the downtown cores of cities. In fact, only 13% live in or near downtown areas that are typically more expensive to live, whereas 61% of millennials are living in other city neighborhoods or traditional suburbs that are less centrally located and more affordable. Many of these areas consist of first-generation suburbs that are typically more compact and more walkable than the newer suburb developments that we see today. Instead of living exclusively in the downtown cores of cities, millennials are choosing to live in more affordable mixed-use neighborhoods. They're living at home with their parents, or they're living in apartments with other roommates. Millennials are also choosing to live in small to mid-sized cities that are more affordable and that offer a certain quality of life to them. Believe it or not, there is a silver lining to living at home with your parents or sharing an apartment with 10 other roommates. Many cities, from small to large, are adapting to reflect millennials' values, and we're building cities for people of all ages. Providing multimodal transportation options is one way that cities are changing in order to reflect mixed-use land use needs, balance travel needs and demand, enhance sense of place, and improve quality of life. We've all seen this scenario throughout the country, and we've all experienced similar results of wasting our time in traffic. However, cities are transitioning away from this old model of widening, and more widening of roads, which for many of us can be maddening. Cities are changing as we figured out that there's a tremendous quality of life benefit to building our cities around multiple modes of transportation. Walking, biking, and taking transit takes up less space than cars, which means that we can use that scarce amount of land more efficiently and spend less time in traffic. In this image, the same number of people are shown using different forms of transportation. And this image also shows the physical space-saving benefits of using various modes. If we were able to increase the number of people that walk, take a bus, or bike, rather than driving alone in their own cars, we could reduce a lot of extra pavement. And we can use that land for higher and better uses that contribute to more livable communities. We'd also have a lot less CO2 emissions from taking all those cars off the road. And we would be able to reduce the heat island effect by eliminating all that extra pavement. We need to have options for how people travel within a city, whether that's walking, biking, transit, and using an automobile. One traditional best practice that does create options is a complete street, which is a street that is built for multiple users, such as pedestrians, cyclists, transit users, and the automobile. The purpose of a complete street isn't to replace the auto, but rather to complement it with sufficient infrastructure, such as sidewalks, bike lanes, dedicated bus lanes, and frequent crosswalks. In Asheville, an example of a complete street is College Street in the downtown area. Before College Street was turned into a complete street, the landscape was primarily dominated by lots of travel lanes and a lot of extra pavement. It was unsafe to walk, and even biking felt unsafe. Now, the street contains actual landscaping, including street trees, and a landscaped median that acts as a traffic calming measure to slow down traffic. College Street now includes wider sidewalks, a dedicated bike lane, ample crosswalks, and a modern roundabout to slow down and control the flow of traffic. It is now a roadway that is built for multiple users, and it is a gateway into the downtown that is much more reflective of the bustling city that Asheville is today. Asheville in Motion is another local effort that will help to balance the travel needs within the city of Asheville. The plan includes policy tools and transformative complete street improvements that will help to create an interconnected network of transportation options in order to address the city's growing population and desire to have enhanced mobility throughout the entire city. Asheville in Motion will link main activity generators, connect neighborhoods to residential and commercial services, and provide alternative transportation options for everyone within the city. As important as it is for people to move about within a city, it is equally as important for people to connect, interact with each other on the street, and strike up a conversation. It's part of the fabric of an urban neighborhood that contributes to a sense of belonging and community. Personal interactions can be facilitated by having pedestrian-friendly streets, as well as development that is oriented around multiple modes of transportation. Asheville's River Arts District is one area where this is happening. The district was once home to heavy industry located along the French Broad River, but over the past few years, the area has undergone a transformation, and it is now an eclectic community of artists, working studios, and restaurants located within historic industrial buildings. But with that popularity of the district also comes a very high demand for new development. And we hope that that development will add to the area's vibrant experience. In response to all this anticipated development within the River Arts District, the city is currently undertaking a form-based code for the area that will focus on the built environment and the placement of buildings in relation to the street. The city is also working on the River Arts District Transportation Improvement Plan, or RADTIP, which will construct a 2-mile segment of the Wilma-Dykeman Riverway, a planned 17-mile multimodal corridor along the French Broad and Swannanoa rivers. The plan includes new sidewalks, on-street parking, shade trees, and wider sidewalks, as well as greenways that will connect to other parts of the city. But this is not just a mobility plan or about getting people from one destination to the next. People want interesting looking streets and places that are designed at the human scale. The RADTIP plan, as well as the form-based code, recognize the context and character of the River Arts District and will build upon that foundation in order to preserve its unique qualities. Innovation districts are another great example of how cities are adjusting to and capitalizing on millennials' preferences and desires to have vibrant and active, livable communities. The City of Asheville has 4 designated innovation districts, which it envisions as areas that are mixed-use neighborhoods with emerging economic investments and exceptional opportunities for collaboration. Businesses, anchor institutions, organizations, craftspeople, artists, and residents. These are just some of the folks that make up a successful innovation district. And the city's role is to continue to support and maintain the momentum of this collaborative environment by improving access to information, facilitating community engagement, and building physical multimodal improvements that connect people. What would a TEDx talk about millennials be if we didn't have a deeper discussion about technology and innovation? In this case, how have technology and the economy responded to the multimodal needs of millennials? Over the past few years, we have seen tremendous strides in the sharing economy. From a transportation perspective, businesses like Uber, Lyft, and Zipcar have all expanded car share opportunities and programs throughout the country. And many cities throughout the US are expanding bike share programs as a way to integrate that type of sharing economy into their multimodal tool belts. Even more recently, it seems that the future of driverless car technology is already here. And it seems that every day or every other day, I read about a new auto company or tech company that are participating in driverless car technology to some extent. Does this mean that the future transportation needs of our cities will rely solely on driverless cars? I don't think so, because it's important to note that the sharing economy is a response to millennials' needs and preferences and their habits. The sharing economy doesn't influence millennials' needs. It's a response to it. Toward that end, technology and transportation need to continue to respond to and recognize the needs of millennials. That includes creating vibrant communities that are centered around walking and biking. The City of Asheville has also made strides recently toward integrating technology and transportation. The Asheville app allows people to submit issues to the city related to sidewalk trip hazards and accessibility issues, and directly make those comments on their smartphones or their computers. The app facilitates direct democracy by giving you a voice in where and how new bike lanes, sidewalks, and transit routes should occur. As public officials, we need to involve millennials in the public engagement process. And we need to continue to find new ways to expand our reach to include more stakeholders. Technology can help us get there, as well as other creative strategies that aim to give a voice to millennials in the public decision-making process. With your input and your voice, we can transform auto-centric developments and replace those with interesting and vibrant, livable communities and places that we want to be and where we want to interact. All it takes is a vision and some hard work, and then reality. We need to continue to have the discussion as to how we should adapt cities, not only to the current needs of millennials, but to their future needs as well. Thank you.